Yeah. Hi, everybody. Welcome back. Nice to see you. Everyone's here today. We got it all happening. Sheepking JB is going to be by. He's going to update us on the Emergency Act hearing. Boring as fuck. This is the Convoy hearing. If you're just joining us, the Convoy hearing where they're trying to figure out, whose fault everything was. The bad guys. I got it for you.
It was Justin's fault.
Yeah. That's what everybody says. So anyway, Sheepking's going to be by in just a couple minutes. We got lots to get to as far as the hearing goes, too. We got some a Doug Ford bombshell to drop. We've got a couple other things to talk about, including Sylvia Jones. Doesn't really matter. In Ontario, she would be considered our health minister. She was the former acting attorney general or auditor general, something like that, some kind of general. It's in charge of the law here in the province of Ontario. So they're in huge trouble today. Big old trouble. Because they lied about saying that they weren't supposed to come down and testify. They were asked like a bunch of times, and they're like, no, we're not coming. We'll just send a couple other stooges. Anyway, we're going to get behind that today, why Doug Ford refuses to take part in the Emergency Act hearing in something that happened in his own fucking province that he had to help with. So, but anyway,
I think he's a little worried that it's going to come out that he supported it.
Yeah. No way. Well, I think it's like, oh, by the way, you're eating a delicious burger to start the program. Wouldn't be the same if you weren't. What do you got there? What do you got on that burger?
By the way, we're late today.
Yeah.
We're late today because of me. It's my issue.
Okay.
I was running around like a fucking madman. Still trying. I was back at the other house.
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah. We don't need to get into it. But I hadn't eaten. And I said to you, I'm going to be about 10, 15 minutes late. And then I was like, I'm starving. So I hit McDonald's, which is a good option. And I found out that if you're trying to make McDonald's relatively healthy, you double the meat. So, and I was like, really? That's a thing? And they're like, yeah, it's not great for you.
No,
but the double the meat is the way to go. So now in the mornings,
it's nowhere near. Hold it. It's nowhere near healthy for you to double the meat on your McDonald's burger.
No,
McDonald's burgers, generally speaking, are incredibly healthy to begin with. No, I have looked into it. Like, I know the caloric value of pretty much everything on the menu. I'm 49, dude. I grew up on this stuff. I'm telling you, you can't tell people that it's super healthy. It's fun to eat. It's not terrible for you.
I didn't say it was super healthy.
But
I said if you have a choice, double the meat.
No. Okay. Well, double the meat. Yeah, if you have
it's
a
a thing.
Sure.
I'm right.
But it's not healthy for you. That's
nutritionists around the world are all going, yeah, Locke's right.
Dude, you lie. You lie like I breathe. Like yesterday, I get a tweet. And the tweet is, oh, by the way, we got Britney Spears, Kanye West, a couple other things to talk about, including the dirtiest man in the history of the world. He just died. And we'll get to all that stuff. Oh, yeah, you'll like that.
Hi, buddy.
The other day, you know how I invented the word pee-pee for Pierre Poilievre? Pee-pee. And it started to trend. I invented it like months ago. Right here in my head. Just P-E-E-P-E-E. Invented it in my head for Pierre Poilievre. Because he's such a douche. And I'm like, well, just call him pee-pee because he'll hate it. And he fucking indeed, I found out from somebody that knows him, is like, he hates when people call him pee-pee. Fucking can't stand it.
Okay,
and so
a lot of people think I invented it.
Well, this is the lie that you've been telling people. Like, and it's coming out now because of your McDonald's lie that you are a bit of a liar. You're a bit of a truth stretcher, if you will. You like to take a grain of truth and you try to yank on it until it's like a long string. And then you go, I don't know what anybody's talking about when everybody's mad. And then you'll walk out of the room. I love it because I do the same thing. Don't worry. I got you. But you are a liar.
I never said McDonald's was healthy. I said.
You did. You said someone told you if you put more meat on your McDonald's burger, it's healthier for you. No, you said healthier.
It's healthier. Healthier. Healthier.
But you are a bit of a liar. And dude, I got to tell you, I find it fascinating because you only do it for the laughs. Like, I know I invented PP. Someone sends a tweet. They're like, hey, Dean invented this word. It's so cool. It's like, and everybody jumps on. I said, yay, it starts trending across Canada. I get a phone call from one of my mutual friends with the people in the Conservative Party of Canada. And they're like, just so you know, he hates this so much. And I'm like, well, fuck, now I got to post a picture of it trending. So I posted a picture of it trending. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Locke's like, I invented it. And I'm like, no, you didn't.
Because somebody said, I think Locke said that first. And I was like, you know what? Maybe I did.
No.
Hey, by the way, McDonald's hack for you.
Yeah.
I got the coffee. You open up the lid.
What do you
pick
got?
something sharp, and you punch a hole, like a bigger breathe hole in the top. And then the coffee comes out a little bit better.
Okay. What's that for? For flow? You're increasing better flow of the coffee? I didn't know that. Yeah. That's interesting. All right. What'd you get at McDonald's, by the way, if I can ask? Was that a Big Mac?
It was a double Big Mac.
So you had 4 patties on that bitch? Is that, Did you really? You had 4?
Some fries. I share the fries with Kingston, my pup.
Yeah, that's good.
Pup loves the fries. And I had a coffee. I try to stay away from sugar.
So you just had a double Big Mac.
Double Big Mac, I'm telling you.
Calories of the double Big Mac. 700 calories in one sandwich. 700 calories. I think the daily intake's like 1,600. So you can only have 16 to 2,000.
But no, I'm a bigger older gentleman.
Yeah.
I need more calories to sustain.
Have you seen the secret McDonald's menu?
Yeah.
Like the
have you ever heard of the
Big Mac burger? You seen that?
The gangbang?
No. What is the gangbang?
So you take McGangbang, they call it. You take I think it's a quarter pounder and cheese, and you split it, and then you take the chicken, just like the McChicken, and you put it in the middle, and then you hammer it. And I've had that. I was drunk when I ordered it because it's not something you do at noon.
The McGangbang.
Yeah. It's not something you go through the drive-through, And hey, Sarah, thanks for taking my order here. I'd like the McGangbang deal, please. So you do it at 1 a.m. through the drive-through, where the guy that works the drive-through knows what you're talking about, and it's going to be a little more socially acceptable. Yeah. There's a couple of secret menu items.
There's a ton
that.
Of secret. There are. Yeah. McDonald's has a grilled cheese they'll serve. Hash brown McMuffin they serve. Land, Sea, and Air Burger. That's got, a patty of everything. You can ask for the Land, Sea, and Air Burger. The McBrunch Burger is just a whole bunch of meat in one thing. The Mc1035, that's got 4 patties, an egg, some ham on it. The McKinley Mac. It's just that's what you had today. It was the double Mac. They call it the McKinley Mac.
Better for you.
No, I don't think it is. But every place has the secret menu. Like Chick-fil-A's got a secret menu. Chipotle's got a secret menu. I don't see the gangbang on here. I think that's an Alberta thing. I think you did that.
No, that's not an Alberta. Go to the Arby's secret menu. Is that in front of you?
Yeah. I think I can get the Arby's secret menu out. No, they don't have one. They got everything but Arby's.
Really?
Yeah.
What is the Arby's secret? I think it's called the Mountain.
Arby's secret menu. Okay. I've just got Arby's secret menu. Updated October 2022. Meat Mountain sandwich. Yeah, you got that right.
We've had that.
Meat Mountain sandwich containing a layer of chicken tenders, Angus steak, roast turkey, ham, corned beef, brisket, roast beef, and bacon. That sounds deliciously terrible for you.
It's like so awful. Good. Yeah. The only thing I would do if anybody from Arby's is listening, it's a lot of work. Like it's a big sandwich and it needs moisture. So I would highly recommend it needs more sauce. It needs fat guy juice. Like,
are you serious right now? Your big thing is that it's a dry sandwich, dude. There's like 24 pounds of metric meat on there.
Mm-hmm.
And your thing is it's a little dry. It's an experiment. It's not like you don't go to Arby's, ask for the meat. You've had Meat Mountain before? You've had that?
We went on somebody
in the ticker.
No, I don't get a grab. I got a good heart. We had somebody call us one day when we were talking about secret menu items.
Yeah.
And like a lot of restaurants have it. Like it's not on the menu, but they'll do it. And it's fairly well known to the point where, these franchises will actually go out of their way to put this stuff, right? They'll slap it on a plate and throw it out there. So somebody phoned in and said, have you been to the Arby's and had the Meat Mountain? And we're like, no. And so he gave us a quick rundown on it. And then we spent the whole week phoning Arby's and trying to find one in Edmonton. And we found one in Millwoods that did it. And we started talking about it, and we planned a trip down there, and we had about 30 listeners follow us. They had to stop serving it.
Edmonton.
So we're like, after the show, we're going down. It was also minus 30.
How was it?
Was it good? We were in the parking lot.
Was it a good sandwich? You haven't even said if it was good or not. You just said you went there on a dare, and you took
Arby's.
30 radio listeners with you. Yeah, that's why I'm asking.
They
was
just
it good?
Followed us there.
I've eaten at Arby's once. That's why I'm asking.
It was great. It just needed more sauce. It needed more sauce. It needed a little more moisture.
Well, this one says it's got some moisture on it. It's got layered with ham, Swiss cheese, topped with shredded lettuce, sliced tomato, red onions, and finished off with a drizzle of mayo and spicy honey brown. Oh, no, that's the Arby's ham and Swiss cheese. Then they got the ultimate BLT. They got bacon mac and cheese, apparently. I've never fucking heard of that, but I would eat it. God, I love bacon mac and cheese so much. Lobster mac and cheese? Are you fucking kidding me right now?
I got
and the bacon, beef, and cheddar. They got the double French dip. These are super roast beef sandwich. Sounds weird. Have you had the super roast beef sandwich at Arby's? The super roast beef sandwich looks and tastes a whole lot like classic roast beef. The main and only difference has more slices of roast beef. So I guess it is roast beef. And it's got red ranch sauce on it. That's it. Yeah. But that's not really roast beef. It's like coagulated roast beef that they cut into slices.
You know what? Honestly, we should do. We'll plan this at one point. We should go around around the country and get out of there.
Secret menu items? Like go look for. Is your dog licking your nuts? What's he doing?
No, he tore apart the McDonald's bag and now he's in my garbage. So
there you go.
Yeah.
So you want to do like a secret menu trip? Are you all right? You gonna be okay?
I'm just making sure he's not choking on something. He was making a weird face. Yeah. All right. Yeah, lick your nuts. Yeah. Sorry. I love the fact in the last house.
Yeah.
We didn't let the dog into certain rooms because when we got him, he was a puppy, and then we never outgrew that. And then when we moved in last week on the weekend, the wife and I were sitting there and we're like, I think I want to give him free reign of the house.
Mm-hmm.
And I just love the fact that he can come up here when I'm on the podcast. He can come up, sit on the couch, and just hang out with Dad.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Mm-hmm. I'm so happy about that. I'm a big fan.
Did you get your ADHD meds this week? We just went from secret menu items to the fact that you love your dog, that he can go in every room in your house.
I'm very. Listen, here's the thing: secret menu items. We should get like 5 restaurants, boom, and do like 5 weeks where we just sit and we figure out where we're going, and we just hit these places and we review them and we make Lynn's do it.
It's not a terrible idea, dude. In Canada, you got Burger King. They've got secret menu items. Chipotle, you got Dairy Queen. Might have a couple Chick-fil-A's. I don't know if you have one out there. Apparently, they're owned by Jesus.
You guys
Priest.
have Chick-fil-A in Ontario?
Yeah, we got like 1 or 2 of them here, I think. Chick-fil-A, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay. All right.
Might have a few. I don't know, but I know it's here. I'd need like a carrier pigeon to show me where it is, so I have no idea, and it's a big place. GTA is not small. Five Guys has a secret menu. In-N-Out, not here. Jack in the Box, not here. Jumbo Juice, not here. KFC's got a secret menu, dude. They fucking rolled the dice with their real menu, like the Double Down. So I wonder the secret menu, how fucking disgusting the secret menu might be.
No,
they've got the Triple Down. They've got the
Do not disparage. Do not disparage the Dirty Bird.
I'm not. I'm just disparaging the one sandwich, the Double Down. There's apparently a Triple Down. There's a Triple Down where it's like 3 of the fucking. It's not 2 patties as the bun. It's 3 patties.
I was so excited about the Double Down when it came, and I had one every day for a week. And I remember on the Friday, like I went every day, like at lunch, and there was lineups for it here. And there was a KFC not far from the last radio station I worked at, The Bear.
Yeah.
100.3, The Bear. Everybody had to have like a Yukon Jack or a Park Warden. They all had to have names that fit into like the Bear theme.
Yeah.
I would have walked into traffic if they would have. What would my name have been? Like Klondike Cross. Jesus.
Klondike Lock. Hey.
Anyway, Lock
Gold
Attack.
Pan Lock.
It's afternoon drive with Lock Attack.
Lachlan Musket. Lachlan.
Anyway, I went in, and on the Friday, I was like, okay, I need to do this because I said I was going to eat them every day for a week. Every day, Monday to Friday, I'm going to eat a double down. But I had a hard time that Friday. That was a difficult trip. It was a tough walk back to the table. That bag was heavy.
Yeah.
It was salty. I think I took years off my life that week.
Well, dude, have you seen the fat and the caloric intake of the double down? It's like 1,200 calories, 5 weeks worth of fat, 6 weeks worth of salt in one sandwich, and you did it every fucking day.
Well, the next year they came out, they weren't as good, and you know why? Because they took some heat on the salt content, so they pulled back on the salt, and I'm like, what are you doing?
They took heat on the salt. You can't take salt out of KFC. You'd have to take all the stuff off of it.
Yeah. It was pretty that first year, I don't know if people remember that. That first year, that thing was a salt brick, man. Do
you remember that?
Yeah. I remember. Dude, it was
I remember
harsh.
They brought him into the radio station that I was working at the time, and they brought in 20 of them, as they always do. They're like, "Hey, we brought you a bunch of these new sandwiches. Love for you to try them." And when you're in radio, you're like, "Fuck, I'll eat anything. If it's free, it's for me." That's the deal. So it's like that's one of the great parts about radio back in the day. Everything was free. Xboxes, food, pizza, poutine, cars, all that stuff. Now nothing is free in radio. You know that, and I know that.
You had a different job than I did.
Yes, I did. I had a great job. But they would bring in these, and I remember they brought in the double down when they first came out with them, and they're like, we got 20 of them. And so we challenged our intern. His name was Meatus. Meatus is like another word for hole opening in the body, by the way. We challenged Meatus. We're like, how many of these things can you put down? And he's like, I could probably do 3 or 4. He got up to 4 and literally passed out. And we didn't want to tell anybody because we thought we killed the kid. We're like, fuck, I think we killed him. I have no idea. It was
4.
But I remember because I had half of one. And I thought I had atrial fibrillation on the way home. Half of one. My heart's like, I'm like, Jesus fucking Christ, I had one. And meet us on the way out of the studio. He woke up, came to, he's like, we felt his pulse. It was like, it's like he was just in a fucking haunted house. It was like this. He goes, guys, I got to go home. I don't feel great. I'm like, no shit. You had 4 double downs. So we looked up the caloric intake. It was like 2 months worth of fat, 6 months worth of salt. It was fucking unbelievable.
That's dangerous.
And
like I said, I was not lying when I told you about walking back to that table on that Friday with that 5th double down. And it was a struggle.
Yeah.
And I'm an eater. Like I'm at that point too. I think I was 255, 260. I was tipping the weight. So I had no problem. Food and me got along. I remember we did, speaking of the stunts, when Fearless Fred first got into radio, he was a bit of a stunt boy. Like this is 100 years ago. I remember getting him to do some stupid shit. And the morning show, BJ and Hallie did a bunch of stupid shit. And I don't know why. He was going to drive around the city and have a Slurpee at every 7-Eleven. And there's like 30 of them in Winnipeg or something. And I don't know how many he did, but I remember there was a great deal of concern for his health that day. Like he got a number of Slurpees in him. And I'll have to send him a note. I meant to send him a note because I got his demo, his first demo tape that he got a job from when he. So
can I ask you a question? By the way, we got a lot of show to get to. Appreciate everybody being here. Brought to you by our friends at kivlaw.ca, Kivlaw Defense Lawyers. If you're looking for great legal representation, go to robert@kivlaw.ca. That's his email address.
Speeding tickets.
No, he doesn't. Kivlaw.ca. No, he doesn't. Check him out. Defense lawyers that'll fight for you, so you can keep your freedom. These are good people, and they'll take care of you. Go to robert@kivlaw.ca or kivlaw.ca for more details today. And of course, don't forget our friends at Easy Auto Financial helping you get into a vehicle. EasyAutoFinancial.ca, people that do all kinds of credit rating and make everything turnkey so you don't have to do the shitty business of buying a car. It doesn't cost you anything either. Check them out today, EasyAutoFinancial.ca. And of course, Ed's Fine Imports, his Gitch luxury branded boxer briefs, pouch in the front. Promo code Gitch3 is your promo code. Make sure you order a pair today. You'll send you a free pair with that promo code Gitch3. But I was listening to the radio this morning, so I'm driving around. I take my son to a doctor's appointment this morning. He's, whatever. He's a teenager. He's almost an adult. He's like 19. And he's like, Dad, he tells me last night, like every kid tells their parent, he's like, Dad, I got a doctor's appointment tomorrow morning, 9 o'clock. I'm like, all right, let's go to the doctor. So we go to the doctor. And I sit there for like an hour in the car because I'm like, I'm not going into the doctor's office with him. I don't have to, right? It's no point. He's just getting 16. A checkup.
He's
19. He's 19. Yeah, I'm not fucking going to.
Dude, why are you driving him? He should be hitchhiking now.
Well, I did because he's not fond of driving. Long story short. Anyway, long story. As I'm sitting there, I'm like, I'm going to listen to the radio. I'm going to listen to Toronto radio today. I'm going to listen to it.
How was it, dude?
And what happened? Like, I don't, and admittedly do not listen to the radio. Like, I listen to you. You guys do a great job. It's so bad here. It's like college radio, or it's like they got the worst individuals they could get for the cheapest they could get them, and they said, just fucking go and do 4 hours.
Yeah.
I was embarrassed. Like, embarrassed. I listened to my old station. Oh, Jesus Christ. It was, they were talking about Mariah Carey and how much they loved Mariah Carey. And I'm like, are you fucking joking right now? This is a big Mariah Carey Christmas thing. And I'm like, that's garbage. And I felt sorry for them, and I don't know them, and I'm not saying anything mean about them personally. So what I thought was, I'm like, this is terrible. This is like, it's not regressive. It's literally like a flea market of bullshit. Like, it was the worst shit I've ever heard. It was the worst music I've ever heard. It was the worst talk I've ever heard. Nothing was compelling about it. And then I listened to a couple of other stations. And I won't say which one. One was a rock station. One was a hip-hop station. Then I listened to a news station. I was there for an hour and a half. I literally surfed. What they do back in radio is they say, we're going to do a monitor. So I monitored like 4 or 5 radio stations. I was blown away. Like, for someone, it's almost like when you leave your hometown and you come back and you don't recognize anything.
Mm-hmm.
Literally. Nobody tries. Nobody cares. Nobody's motivated. Nothing I heard today made me laugh, sad, happy, compelled me, was interesting. Nothing. It was like fucking god awful. And then they did like a 5-6 song sweep without any IDs, without me knowing what I was listening to. Just garbage, shitty song after garbage. Well, actually, there was a couple good songs. I heard Journey today, which is good. Don't Stop Believing. That's a great tune. And Gotta Keep Them Separated. Offspring. That's a great tune too. Yeah, exactly. But I was shocked. And I thought, I wasn't even going to talk to you about it because I feel like every time I talk about radio, it's like me bitching or trying to say, you guys don't know what you're doing. I don't know what happened from in the last 5 years with radio stations in this city to today. I don't know.
I do.
But I can tell you that it was ineffective. It was boring. It was put on. And every single person, Locke, sounded fucking scared to death. Scared to death. You know that whole
theory.
Yeah, today we've got this, and it's going to be a great time, and you could win this, and it was just none of it caught my interest, and on top of it, you could hear it in their voices, dude.
Yeah,
they were like, "This is coming up, and this is coming up, and stay tuned." Nothing. No one tried. No one cared. No one said, "Hey, I'm going to fucking go out on a big swing here. I'm going to do something compelling. I'm going to talk about, we just had a massive municipal election." Not a word of it. Not one word. Nobody talked about it. Nobody. Nothing. Zero. And I don't know what happened. I know when I listen to your show, it's a great radio show. It's probably one of the last great radio shows in this country.
It's not. There's
no, I mean that from the bottom of my heart because I'm in a silo, right? Like we do this, we jack around, we talk about politics, talk about assholes. We'll talk about the dirtiest guy in the world, maybe a little Britney Spears, some Kanye today. But we try to do content. Nobody was doing any of it. And they all sounded like fucking petrified. And I felt sorry for them. It's not me saying I'm better than that, but I am, and I was, and anybody can be. But like, is it a matter of them not just hiring the right people in this industry anymore? Or are these people just fucking scared to death of losing their job and that's how they operate? Like, what is that?
So I've put quite a bit of thought into where we're at. And it's not just as, and my theory has evolved. So it's not just, and this is a recent, sort of an, recent development in my theory about where radio is at in this country. So everybody knows about the consolidation. And it started at the end of the 90s, early 2000s. Radio stations started to get bought up. So people started to purchase them, and these bigger companies started to collect radio stations. And I think a lot of it has to do with, okay, listen, if we're going to spend $500,000 on an ad campaign to sell you cell phones, why don't we just buy the fucking company? Right? Like, I think there was a bit of that kind of strategy. So they got into it because they got more money than God. I mean, we give these people tons of money every month, and they basically own everything. They buy buildings, they buy radio they buy all this broadcast stuff. And then what ends up happening is they're so reliant on the shareholders, right? So what they do with the shareholders is they try to make them happy every quarter, right? So they consolidate, they try to do everything on a shoestring budget. So over time, that's just been in this ongoing process. We've completely squashed the business. How can we do more with less? And it's across the board. It's not, I used to think, well, you know what, they've killed the training grounds because all these big companies have bought up all the small markets too. And so they've consolidated those efforts. And I'm talking on air, I'm talking sales, I'm talking everything. Everything has been consolidated. So what ends up happening is you have guys in management positions, and no one's at fault here. Like, I'm not blaming anybody that works in the business that's part of the system right now. I think it is what it is. But what ends up happening is you end up being a program director, and instead of being able to just concentrate and work on one radio station, you have 10. So the last fucking thing you want is anybody or anything that's going to add to your daily routine. So what do? You hire milk toast. And then if they do step out of line, you fucking scare them into submission.
Or you fire them because it doesn't cost you anything, right?
And then that guy ends up going, oh shit, I just got fired in Red Deer, and I just got a weekend shift in Calgary. Now I'm on my way to Vancouver, gets fired in Vancouver. Now he's on his way to Toronto, and he's going, okay, I'm finally fucking here. I'm just going to, okay, I'm never going to share my opinion. I'm never going to cause any problems. I'm not going to be that jock. And you can hear it in their voices. You can hear it in their delivery. Look
that's
what's
all
happening
I heard
to
today, dude. That is such a great explanation, and I appreciate it because that's what I fucking heard today. And this is the school that I come from when it comes to radio, because I still think it's fucking very healthy if it's done right. I really, really do. I think it's probably one of the most immediate mediums. I think it's fucking perfect to bring people into your ecosystem. I think it's awesome. I'd do it for free tomorrow. If someone said, hey, listen, can you help us make money and move this thing from, terrestrial to digital? Fuck, I'd do it tomorrow. But what I heard today was fascinating to me from that perspective, from that fear perspective, right? It's almost like they have taken all of the high test folks out, people that gave a shit. And dude, you've seen it. You've seen them just kind of come through and get rid of those people.
Dean, I hate to interrupt.
Yeah.
Those people, those high test people, those people that, like you and I, that give a shit, that worked our sacks off in this business for as many years as we have. I continue to work my sack off. We're not easy to manage. It takes time and energy and effort to manage me. I'm fully aware of it. Right? Like, I understand that I am a difficult person to work with, but what you get in return is you get somebody that gives a fucking shit. Like, when I go in, when I walk in that building before 5 o'clock every morning, we crack a mic just before the news at 6. We do our intro and we go balls to the wall for 4 hours, right? We come in there with enough content for an 8-hour show every day. And we do the best 4 hours that we can do. And we try to be as entertaining, as fun as possible.
But hold it. But hang on. You and I both know that you work your dick off. You and I both know you go in overprepared. You and I both know you love this business. You and I both do know that. But you control those parts, right? What I heard today was people that not only didn't want to control that part, but there was no effort. There was zero effort. It was what I call liner radio, where it's just reading liners on behalf of the company for a second. I know it's safe, but and they sit there and wonder why their ratings are shit, why they can't make any money, why no one listens, why people are fleeing to podcasts.
People don't get fired because of ratings anymore. They don't get fired. They get fired because they pissed off a client.
No, I know that, but like as a source of pride. Like as a source of pride. And I used to say this to people all the time. And I say this to people in radio now that are in it, that call me and go, hey, can you help me get out? I'm like, well, what are you doing? And I was like, well, I'm not doing anything. And I'm quiet quitting. I had this conversation I had with a guy in radio last week. He's like, I'm quiet quitting. I'm just doing the bare minimum. And I'm like, bud, this is your resume. This is your life. Like you're just telling everybody you don't give a shit en masse. Like no one's going to hire you again if you don't try. And he's like, it's not worth it. I just want to get off. I want to do my own thing. I want to monetize it. And I said, well, it's going to take 3 years. And he's like, oh, I can't afford that time. I said, well, you better start trying now then. Like that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about that sense of pride. And I know people are afraid. No, I know, but it's a shame. It's a fucking shame. Brutal. Because everything, and I used to say this all the time, and I say it today, everything we do is a resume. When you put out content, you're doing this job, whether you're on the radio, you're on YouTube, you're on Twitch, you're on, by the way, YouTube, Dean Blundell Show, YouTube, Twitch, Dean Blundell TV on Twitch, Twitter, @it's Dean Blundell. Find us anywhere you get your fine podcasts as well. But it doesn't matter where you are. Everything you do is a building block for that next thing. And what I heard this morning where people go, you know what? I don't give a fuck. Let's just take some matches and throw it in the middle of the house and watch it all fucking burn because it doesn't matter anymore. And I don't know where that comes from. I don't know if it's people. Is it just in this city? Because Edmonton seems to have a pretty vibrant radio market. You do a great job, unbelievable job. Vancouver, there's some good stations in Vancouver. And it's the one thing I hear all the time. It's like, it's got to be head office city. It's got to be Toronto. Toronto is, and you have these conversations with people in the industry, and I've had several of them recently, which is why I was listening to the radio, because I might start doing some of this stuff again. And I'm like, oh my God, what happened while I was gone? It's literally, like, if I feel like since I've left, I don't know if I scared everybody. I don't know if my situation scared everybody. I don't know. I don't know if it's profit taking. I don't know what the deal is. But someone needs to fix it. And if it doesn't get fixed soon, there will be no more radio. Like it's a perfect medium to introduce people to things, your life, your career, introduce people to a merch store, introduce people to the work that you do, introduce people to real great content you can't get anywhere else. But no one, do people listen to the radio for the music anymore? I don't think they do. Like formats.
I think they could.
I had a conversation with a guy a couple weeks ago. We were talking about formats. He says, you know, we're thinking of switching formats. And I'm like, why would you even have one anymore? Like you can go from a Metallica tune into Dolly Parton's Jolene like that now. Like nobody gives a shit. Everybody just wants to be entertained. And they miss that part. And I don't know if it's regional. That's the problem that I'm having right now, trying to figure all this stuff out.
I think there are elements of good radio across the country. And then I think there's a lot of bad radio. And I think a lot of it has to do with engagement from everybody that should be engaged in a show.
You know what, right? I think too? Like, I think every radio station manager, every program director, every media owner, every media manager is afraid of Twitter. Like fucking scared to death of getting a tweet saying, I'm going to complain because that guy did something I didn't like. And
it adds to the time in their day, Dean.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. That's the basis of the fear. They're scared that they're going to I don't want to have to deal with that. I've got 10 fucking radio stations. I got 2 morning shows because I got 5 formats that appeal to women. And I put a morning show on those 5. And I put one male driven show on the other 5 that are male driven. And then I've got to deal with this guy, and Locke's in Edmonton, and he's a dick. All he wants is this and that, and he sends me emails on the weekends. Like, I mean, what happened with the consolidation is we put too much pressure on the people that stuck around, and they're imploding. And then those people that are on the air in front of a mic, I'm sort of one of these unique individuals that I don't need anybody to blow smoke up my ass. I've never been motivated by somebody going, great job, buddy. You're doing fucking fantastic. And then I'm like, whoa, I'm going to work harder. No, I've never been that guy. I've always gone in and I work my sack off without, unfortunately, we work in an industry, and you know this, where there's a lot of people that need to be stroked and daily, and you got to blow smoke up. That's why I got out of management. I couldn't motivate these
babysit.
People.
Yeah.
I couldn't do it.
I guess if you're like a program director, if you're in charge of like 10 radio stations where you used to just be in charge of one, you had all kinds of time to put in to help people, get them better, train them, get them to understand what you're doing, help them be better at what their stuff is, guide them through the process. And when you've got 10 radio stations, you're like, you know what? I'm too busy. Just don't fuck it up today. Like that. It seems like that's the
exactly
MO for that industry.
What's happening?
Just don't fuck it up today.
It's funny, and I've said this before because people are like, "There's no more good ideas in radio." We have them all the time. I think we do and then again, I don't want to sound too egotistical here, but I think we do a good show, and I think we have some fun stuff. Yeah, every once in a while, I'll steal something like everybody else does, and I'll morph it into an idea.
But you steal it from me, and we work together, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah. I remember one bit I stole, and I stole it from an episode I saw on Much Music 100 years ago. And I started doing this thing, Will It Flush? So we would get people on the phone, and we would have an item, and it was actually Fearless Fred, who was the stunt guy back in the day. He would be in the toilet, and we had him mic'd up down the hall, and we're like, "What do you got?" I got a dinosaur from a McDonald's Happy Meal. And then we'd go, "All right, what's your name?" Barry, will it flush? Yes or no? And then somebody started doing it at another radio station in Kingston or something. And I was so pissed off.
Yeah, but you stole it. And
doesn't matter. I was still mad that they took my bit that I stole from somebody else. We did this turkey thing at Thanksgiving, Thanksgiving, where we dressed up as turkeys and we go into somebody's house, play rock, paper, scissors. And if they lose, we raid their pantry. And we leave them a prize or whatever, and we take a bunch of food to the food bank. And I said to Grant, we were talking about it on the air. I'm like, where did we get that idea? Because that's brilliant. And he's like, we stole it. And I'm like, from who? And they're like, the guys across the street, or not across the hall. The other morning show didn't do it one year, and I heard about it. And as soon as he told me, I was like, that's right. They didn't want to do it anymore. And I started doing it. And 5 years later, I thought it was my bit.
Dude, that's just great. No, that's you know what you did? A fucking smart thing where you're like, hey, they took a fucking flyer on this year. Now it's mine. I'm just stealing it. I'm just straight up taking it because I love the idea.
Who doesn't want to see a bunch of assholes dressed in turkey costumes running through the neighborhood?
I'd watch it right now.
It's fun.
Yeah, man. It literally, it was one of those things where like a light went off in my head today when I was listening to the radio, and I felt sorry for those people, dude. I really did. And even just kind of putting it together and batting it around, it makes sense to me. And I wish, dude, fucking, there's not many. I'm super glad I'm not on the radio. Like, I'm really glad I'm not, but I'm pretty sure it can be saved. And I think I'm the guy to do it. I might do it. I think I might come back and save radio. I'm not even kidding you. I think it's just next on my list of things to do. Like this afternoon, I need to go get some lettuce. Then maybe tomorrow I'll start saving radio. I have no idea.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I need you to sit tight. Give me a second here.
Yeah.
This is Locke saying things to Dean that people don't have the courage to say to Dean.
I'm gonna save it.
If I was in that room with you right now,
yeah, I'd
slap the shit out of you, because I've said to you now for 2 fucking years, you should be getting back into this business. And all of a sudden, you pulled the stick out of your ass, and now you're making it seem like it's your great idea. You're going to go save radio? Oh, such a dick. You are such a raging dick. I can't believe it.
I think it's time, dude. I really do. It was like a calling. It was like an epiphany. It was like I heard angels this morning when I was in the car when I was listening to this garbage. I was like, oh, they need you. It was seriously. It was like Field of Dreams. If you go back, everyone will come because everyone else sucks ass. That's all I heard. Swear to God, in the back of in a James Earl Jones voice, like Field of Dreams.
Yeah.
If you get on the radio again, don't worry, everything's gonna be fine. We need
No,
you.
it's not.
Yeah, that's what they said. That's what the voice said.
Those ghosts in that cornfield are lying to you. It won't be fine. It'll be a struggle. And
no, it won't.
The thing is,
dude,
it'll be a good struggle.
What I heard today,
it'll be a good struggle. Oh my God! If they threw you back into the Toronto market, you would mop
light it up.
I've told my wife this before, and she's like, I remember having a conversation with my wife about my career. So my first paying job, I went to school in Vancouver. My first paying job was Edson. And then I went to Fort McMurray.
Yeah.
Then I went to Prince George. Then I went to Winnipeg. And then I came to Edmonton. And I'm like, and this was a couple years ago, somebody called me for a job. Right. And it was in another one of those markets. And they said, hey, are you interested? And I was talking to my wife about it. And we're having dinner. And I'm like, why can't like Kelowna or some nice sunny place where it's warm all year long? And she looks at me and she goes, well, you're not really a sunny disposition jock. I'm like, okay, maybe we'll stay.
She's right. She's totally right. You
but
and
I have told
Peachland
her
would be terrible.
I fucking told her. I said I would destroy in Toronto. Give me the reins of a stick in Toronto. And she's like, no, you wouldn't. You're such a.
She really believes in you, eh?
She is so anti-lock in Toronto, and I'm like, fuck that. So someday it could be the worst station. It could be like a smooth jazz station if they call and offer me a job in Toronto.
Yeah.
Even for half the money, I might be going. Leave her here and I'm going to go.
Just to say that you did it?
I'm fucking going to Toronto.
Well, if they make you do the shit that I heard them making people do this morning, stay the fuck away from the city. Honest to Christ.
The problem is, though, I don't think you need to be that jock, but you need to have fucking some balls. You need to defend your position. And you need to have
someone the other day, and he was telling me how they weren't even allowed to talk about the pandemic this last year. He said we were told we can't talk about the pandemic. Nonetheless, give an opinion on vaccination or anything because it might upset a client that's spending money with them. It might upset a listener, and they might get an email and they don't want to have to answer it. That was what I had. I had a conversation a couple weeks ago with someone, and they're like, "Yeah, dude, it's fucked."
It's very volatile.
That's the shame of it because it's like if you're in this business, if you're one of these people that likes to put out content. You have to be able to freewheel. You have to be able to have a conversation. You can't have the boogeyman in the back of your head telling you can't do something or this is going to be trouble or don't fuck up or else. But if you've got an entire industry that's literally sitting on don't fuck up or else, I get that. It explains what I heard today. But I'm convinced more than ever. I think it's going to take me to save it.
Yeah, great idea. We were talking about Danielle Smith this morning because she
how's she doing?
The World Economic Health or World
Forum.
Yeah.
World Economic Forum. Yeah. Klaus Schwab,
World Economic Forum. She's fired them or something, or I don't know.
No,
I don't know enough, but it has something to do with I know enough that it's a conspiracy theory.
Yeah.
That it also ties into the Great Reset, but I've never really looked into I haven't sat down and done 2 days of research on it, and I freely admitted that.
Let me give you my quick take on the World Economic Forum because this is the one thing everybody's fucking losing their minds about today and every day, especially if you're a Convoy related person and your premier Danielle Smith is a Convoy person. She's literally fucking psycho. The World Economic Forum is run by a guy named Klaus Schwab. Klaus Schwab wrote a book that basically said we should have one currency, we should have one world government, and it should be staffed by certain individuals that aren't elected. Right. So every person out there that's got this serious sense of like nationalism or white nationalism in some cases, specifically white nationalism, they look at a guy like Klaus Schwab and they're like, you can go fuck yourself. We're free over here. these colors don't fucking run. And so they think that great reset has something to do with this other thing in the Bible called the end times. That when we go to a one world currency, so all the religions get involved and they're like, wait a second, this guy's Satan. So they think he's the devil and he's taking over the world with a group of elites and we're going to have one currency and that's going to be a tattoo. And that's also maybe the mark of the beast. None of them really know. But what I can tell you is that's the Coles Notes version of my understanding of what the Klaus Schwab Great Reset is. It's where, all the debts are taken care of. Nobody has to pay their mortgage anymore. Universal basic income, which actually sounds pretty fucking awesome if you ask me. Like if someone said to me, hey, Klaus Schwab is going to become the prime minister or the president of Canada, the World Economic Forum, no more debt. Everybody gets universal income. Everybody gets universal health care. And here's the great part. No one really has to work. I'd be like, yeah, fuck, sign me up. Where's that? That sounds great. But there's like a whole group of people, which, by the way, it's from this book that he wrote about the Great Reset, which he thinks would work in this world. And he's an old fuck who's like an institutional asshole who just is on the World Economic Forum. But everybody out there thinks he's the fucking devil, especially the religious. So that's how that all kind of ties together from my understanding. Anyway, I didn't mean to interrupt. I just wanted to get
the point being was I just said, hey, I don't know what this is, but this has something to do with the Great Reset, right?
Yeah.
Well, we had a guy call, and he just went off on me.
What do you say? What do you say it was?
Tim. Anyway, and so we went back and forth. I didn't have a lot of time. There's only 3 minutes and 34 seconds in Troopers Raise a Little Hell. So I think he was a little annoyed that we had to cut the conversation short. But I did take that call, and I was going to play it on the air, and then I'm listening to it. I'm like, guys, we can't play this. The guy said the F word like 17 times. So it's just too much work to edit in between songs, right? So we have an explicit label on our podcast, The Locker Room. You can go listen to it. It's quite entertaining. I think we need to get to a point where instead of being scared about that conversation, because a lot of people are, and I've even gone through stages of that myself, where it's like,
what, like you don't want to talk about the Great Reset? Is that like,
no, I don't want to have that conflict or have that conversation with somebody that is just never going to change their mind or move an inch. And if it's just going to end up being yelling, what's the point? Why is there's no it's not productive at all. Mm-hmm. So I think a lot of guys, even though, and you know what? A lot of people avoid conflict to begin with. And it's just easier to say that their boss told them, oh, no, he doesn't want us touching that stuff. It's too controversial. But man, when you get complaints or you get people riled up now, it's always about politics. And it's always, why are you fucking talking about this? You've got your head up your ass.
Yeah.
Like that was basically what Tim was saying to me today was, you guys are morons.
Because you don't know about the Great Reset?
Because I don't know about the Great Reset and how the end of the world is coming. And again, and the fact that I don't believe in it, and the fact that we're having fun, like Grant's Grant report today was poking fun at Daniel Smith being endorsed by Rob Schneider, Deuce Bigelow. And he's like,
endorsed by Rob Schneider?
Yeah, he went out on the weekend and sent a tweet saying, now Alberta has a real leader. And I'm like, there's an endorsement.
Rob Schneider? He's been on Planet Crazy for like the last 3 years, Rob Schneider. He's literally fucking insane.
Big Trumper.
So when you get endorsed by Rob Schneider, you know you made it. He was great in
on
Benchwarmers, though. Do you ever see him in Benchwarmers? He was fucking great in that movie.
I can't watch those shows. Deuce Bigelow, can't watch it. Anyway.
Also an underrated movie.
There you go. We're taking the heat of it. Do you know how many times a week somebody says, like, they listen every day and they send us a text? So is Trudeau got his tongue up your ass too? Like, how much you guys getting paid to say that? And I'm like, dude, honestly, you can't win anymore.
I know.
And that's what we're dealing with, Dean. And people are scared of it. They're all scared of it. Everyone is. And I understand.
Well, you know what everybody's scared of? They're scared of getting a tweet back from somebody that says something like that, where it's like, fuck, now I'm triggered. I don't know what to say. Dude, I get it thousands of times a day. If you go to Added Steam Blundell,
differently.
I know I enjoy it. Yeah, I love picking fights. I was saying that to my dad this week, and he's like, "Son, what because we were talking about work, and he's in the kind of the industry that I'm in, and we were talking about it, and he's like, "What do you think your base strength is?" I go, "Picking at scabs." I said, I don't know what it is. There's nothing I love more than picking a fight with a loser. And there are so many out there that literally think they're geniuses, doctors, lawyers, infectious disease experts that just come out with their Dunning-Kruger shit or the Great Reset shit. And the only thing I know how to do is to make them feel absolutely terrible about themselves. And I fucking love it. But you can do it in a fun way. My point is this, is that it's never going to end. Like we're in a time where everybody's like so sure. And these are people that are so sure. And I've never been more unsure the more I learn, right? The more I learn, the more I read, the more I talk to doctors, the more I talk to politicians with worth their salt, the more I talk to economists, infectious disease experts, when I talk to people, when I learn, the more I'm like, fuck, I can't believe I walked around in that ignorance. These people not only walk around in that ignorance, they're so fucking sure that they're right because they have nowhere to go. So what they do is they add this weird emotionality, like your boy Tim that called in this morning, and he's like,
they get boxed
fuck you and the Great Reset. You don't know what you're fucking. They come out as strong as they can. It's the same reason an alcoholic yells at you when you're like, hey, can we talk about your drinking? He's like, fuck you. You don't know anything about me. That's the same thing. And the reason why they do it is they're literally, and again, talked to my therapist about it, and we had a fucking great laugh because we, went through the whole thing. I'm like, tell me about these people that are cognitively delayed. And he's like, I said, do they have small penises? And he's like, some guys, a lot of the angry men have small penis syndrome. He said, but more importantly, what they're trying to do with their anger, when they yell at you, they freak out and they tell you that you don't know what you're talking about. The Great Reset's coming. I'll be there. I won't be there for you in the end. You shouldn't have got vaccinated. You're all going to die. Fucking weirdness. And they keep saying it and everybody's still alive and everything's just fine. In fact, even better than it's ever been. But he said, and I was fascinated by it. He's like, they are trying to keep you away from how stupid they are. They're trying to prevent you from finding out that they're actually not smart, not educated, don't read, and really don't know what they're talking about. So the one tool that they have is emotion, anger, calling, yelling, freaking out, sending complaints, destroying people's reviews on Yelp. It's literally like and dude, this is the time we live in. Like, when people say, I wish I would just like it to stop. Fuck, it's never going to stop. This will never stop. People are going to continue to be assholes for as long as they're angry and as long as they're uneducated. It's just that simple. And they're angry because they're uneducated. And they won't take a chance at educating themselves because the second they crack a book, they're like, I feel like an idiot. I'm closing the book and I'm not going to bother reading. I'm not going to bother having a conversation because being wrong to them is worse than death. And here's the best part. They don't want to know. That's why they don't educate themselves. That's why they don't read. That's why they don't care.
Well, I have a theory a little bit more. I think what ends up happening is, I think you're right in a lot of what you're saying. When you get a Tim, when you get somebody that like shoots back at you, and I said this out loud, and I will say this again. I would have loved to have been able to talk to Tim longer. Go for a beer with them because I'm fascinated by this wiring right now. And I'm trying to learn more about why people are there. And I don't think it's as simple as they're worried about the people finding out that they're dumb. I think in a lot of situations, what ends up happening, Dean, is they are wired a certain way to ask questions, to be anti-authority, right? So that sends them down a path. And in a lot of these conspiracy theories and a lot of these conversations, the Great Reset, there's a string, there's a thread of truth that runs through it. And so they cling to that. Mm-hmm. And their anger also comes from the fact that they can't convince the people around them about that thread of truth. They don't have the ability to go, follow this, just come with me here, right? Like, give me a minute. I'm not going to yell at you. Give me a minute. I'm going to show you why this Great Reset there might be some substance to it.
Have you ever asked a guy that? Have you ever, like, someone that believes in this stuff? Have you ever sat? Dude, I've had lots of those conversations, and it was fascinating because when we had Marazzo on about a month ago, he came back last week to talk just about the EA stuff. But like I asked him, I'm like, what do you think is going to happen to me now that I'm vaccinated and all the rest of the vaccinated Canadians? And he literally said, I think you'd be dead in 5 years.
Well, in
Literally.
5 years, they'll add another 5.
And I'm like, why? And he's like, because it's experimental. And I'm like, no, it isn't. He's like, yes, it is. No, it isn't. Yes, it is. And I'm like, okay, I guess, whatever. Like, there's no point. Like, any human being in this country would look at the fact that 99.9% of every medical professional and medical institution and university-related medical institution has said vaccines are fucking miraculous, right? We still have people going, not my body. I've got unvaccinated sperm. I'll sell for $2,500 too, by the way. Like, we still have people that do that.
That guy's in Edmonton.
He's in Alberta. Yeah. Like
yeah.
I'm telling you, like, it makes no sense. And somehow they've been able to drive a wedge into the community. And you see it on social media more than anything. Real people questioning, maybe they shouldn't have gotten a shot. Like, maybe not. 70% of deaths are still in the unvaccinated community. 70% of hospitalizations, 60% of all cases globally are in the unvaccinated population. So when people have these conversations with me and they want to tell me about their vaccine injuries, and I immediately don't believe them. I don't, because they're very few and far between. So I don't even comment on it. When someone tells me that
some people are deathly allergic to Tylenol.
Yeah.
And they take it and they die. So the vaccine, why would that be an exception? They don't have that ability to go, okay, yeah. Or maybe something else happened to that individual that he ended up with swelling of the heart. Maybe it was the virus and the mass white blood cells that got released into his body and it attacked his heart. And they go, vaccine.
Yeah,
vaccine.
Dude, remember when Brian Marchment died this last summer? Former Leaf Brian Marchment. I think he played for the Oilers too. Yes. Brian Marchment, Mush, they used to call him. Lovely guy. Used to golf with him a little bit. Lovely family. Son Mason plays for Dallas. He's a great kid. It was like instantly right after he died, the day he died, she, of course, jumps on her Twitter account. She's doing one of these. It's the vaccine. She doesn't know him. She doesn't know of him. She doesn't know anything about him. And that's everybody in that community. It's like the second someone dies, they're like, they were vaccinated without any information. Zero. Because it's not about truth. It's about perception. They want you to perceive this to be bad because that makes them feel like they might be fucking onto something. And they're not. They're pure idiots. Like, they're just pure fucking morons. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Go ahead.
No. I was jumping in on you. Back to my conversation with Tim, which I don't think is his real name. Because there was like, what's your name? And he was like, Tim. Anyway, so I have no problem using it because I'm pretty sure it's not his real name. But back to the conversation, when the yelling stopped, it was interesting because he was just rattling off all these points he had about and see, I even said on the show, live on the radio, I don't know enough about this, but this has something to do. Daniel Smith's comments have something to do with the Great Reset, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Grant's like, yeah, it does. The World Economic Forum, blah, 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 Schwab or whatever his name is.
Klaus. Yep.
Yeah. It all ties in. And I'm like, oh, okay, I'm going to have to look into this because I don't know enough about it. I know the connections. I don't know the history behind why the conspiracy theory exists. You shouldn't be talking about this. You guys are morons. And I'm like, whoa. So we got into it, and then he starts going on about all the points, like, and you can tell it's his, Coors Light banquet in the garage Friday night drinking points, right?
Yeah.
And he's rattling them all off. And then he goes, and then he said something about COVID in a lab and in Wuhan. And I said, well, if I'm being honest, I've actually believed that for a long time, that I think that COVID escaped.
Me too.
And then it just morphed. I've always believed that.
And it's funny because I was talking with a centrist this morning just on Twitter, Tracy. She's a lovely lady. Yeah. And we were talking about the centrists and how everybody forgets that we exist, but we're like 90% of the population.
Yes.
People that are like, because no one wants to talk about it because you'll get put in a camp. But if you said to me, how did fucking COVID get over here? I'd be like, they fucking engineered it in the lab and spread it all over the fucking place. What do you think's going on?
I've been saying that for literally about 2 years. And so
and I might be wrong, but I believe it. Yeah, exactly.
He didn't know where to go. He just was like, oh, hold on. You mean you're not going to disagree with me here? Like,
no.
All of a sudden, all of his arguments.
You're a centrist.
Yes. So he was like, I was like, I actually believe that was a goof and somebody fucked up and it got into, I don't believe the bat thing. And I think somebody from that lab ended up walking through that market and infected one person and then that person, and away we go. Right.
Dude, I'm even more nefarious in what I think happened. I literally think that they did it on purpose.
Like, do you really see? I don't think
part of me does. See, I can't prove any of it. I've got 3 different theories. Yours, where someone in the Wuhan lab had some Ebola on their pants and they walked through the market and gave everybody fucking COVID. That's one of them. And then the other one is like Xi Jinping was like, squirts some of the shit in the air and let's see what happens.
Let's see what happens. Yeah.
And then the other one is that it's from bat soup. But like, dude, I can't fucking compete with any of it. I don't know any of it to be true. But it's fun talking about this. But it's amazing. Again, you come up with these like, you know, ideas or thoughts, and you're just having a conversation like we're having here. But you'll get put in like a fucking concentration camp
right away.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, every day, depending on what the topic is of the break we're doing. I'm either we had one guy throw me under the liberal train, and then then we had another conversation, and like, you can't do that. Like, literally, we went back and forth today from people being angry about us from 2 different sides, right?
Yeah. Well, because you can't, like, that's the thing, is that we're so polar opposite. There's all these people in the middle. They're like, I believe a little bit of that. I believe a little bit of that. But everybody in the middle is like, I'm just going to shut the fuck up and get on with life because I don't feel like dealing with it. Whereas guys like you and I, at least me, I can say this for myself, maybe you on the radio, that's the scab I like to pick at on both sides. Like, I love picking at both of those scabs because the extremes that run the narratives are just a bunch of fucking losers, Luck. You know that. I know that.
Well,
like they want you to believe something for specific reasons. But the truth of the matter is that most of us can think for our fucking selves. Like, I think COVID is very bad. I believe vaccines are very good. I believe boosters are outstanding. Part of me thinks that this is a fucking engineered virus that they wanted to fucking secure into the rest of the world. Mm-hmm. Part of me believes that. Part of me believes that that Justin Trudeau politicized this. In fact, I know he did. Part of me actually knows that Pierre Poilievre politicized it. You know, and it doesn't matter. Like, you know, people will try to put you in whatever camp. One guy today called me a libtard. Fuck, I get called a libtard like 20 times a day. Lefty extremist. One of the organizers, Ben Dichter, started shit posting me today. I'm like, fuck, dude, I could care less what you say about me. Like, I don't care because that's the label they give you. But they don't even know what label to put on anything. Like, one day, dude, you're a commie. The next day you're a fascist, right, Locke? Depending on what you say.
Well, exactly. And that's exactly what ends up happening. And that's why what I'm trying to do now is, and I've been trying to do this for a while. I've been trying to stay away from putting people into camps, because one of my mantras, and I'm not good at this. I've told you that my secret to fixing the world, right?
No.
You want me to do it again quickly?
Sure.
I can fix every problem in the world. 3 easy steps. Yeah. 1, figure out who you are. 2, get used to who that fucking person is. Get comfortable in that person's skin. And 3,
shut the fuck up.
No, stop worrying about what everybody else is doing. I think that judgment piece is the biggest issue that we have in the world that we live in today. So totally. I'm really good at 1. I'm getting better at number 2. And I need a lot of work on number 3, because I catch myself almost daily judging people. And that's the one thing that I think could fix the planet. And I'm not very good at it. And I don't think any of us are very good at it. So I'm trying, like, just the whole imagine about, if you believe that, you're a complete moron.
You're totally self-aware having this conversation. Imagine someone who's not self-aware, that is only interested in judging people and only interested in judging them publicly, so they can hang a fucking
they're busy on Sundays.
Yeah, dude, they've got no time. Like, and this
Steven, that's me judging people right there.
Well, you forced me into joking, actually. That's just you joking. I can judge all kinds of things, but I judge by facts, like this whole Doug Ford thing with the Emergency Acts. Did you hear this? These are facts.
A little bit.
You know, you've got problems with Danielle Smith. We have the opposite of that. We have like a guy that hides and a guy that lies. Anyway, Doug Ford, the premier of this province of Ontario, 15 million people. It's the economic engine of the entire city. As you know, Ontario. Fuck you, Doug is right. As you know, Ontario is the biggest province in Canada. It has the biggest cities in Canada, and Doug Ford is in charge of all of it. Now, the emergency act that's going that had to get triggered for the convoy to clear out the convoy, it was a state of emergency, lasted 3 weeks. Those 3 weeks, there were several meetings, and we're finding this out in the last couple of weeks. Several meetings where they asked Doug Ford to help, and not only did he not help, he refused to help, lied about the help he sent, and this all came out in Jim Watson's testimony. Now, Jim Watson was, up until yesterday, I think he's got a couple more days because they had a big election. Mark Sutcliffe is the new mayor of the city of Ottawa. Congratulations to him. Don't know him, but whatever. Who cares? It's municipal politics. All for losers. Jim Watson was on the stand last week, and he dropped this, and I want to play it for you. And then we're going to get to the news that is very fucking bad for Doug Ford. Watch this.
Disappointment that the province didn't want to take part in the tripartite. And when I had that conversation with Minister Jones and the Premier on that phone call, I think it was a phone call or a Zoom, I can't recall, to be honest. The Premier was adamant that he did not feel it would be useful to have 3 levels of politicians sitting around a table.
And did he say why he didn't think that was going to be, that wasn't necessary or helpful?
Well, I think he felt it would be a waste of time. When he said that, I was quite frustrated with him. He said, look at what's it going to accomplish? A bunch of people sitting around a table talking and making decisions. And I said, well, that sounds like a cabinet meeting. And he didn't like that. But at the end of the day, it was his call. If he wasn't going to go to force his minister to go to the meeting or not go to the meeting, he just said they're not going to be part of it.
There you go. So that came in last week while you were moving. You probably haven't had a chance to get up to speed, but that was the mayor at the time.
I've been avoiding all these hearings. They're so bad.
It's so boring, but it's actually pretty funny. So what Jim Watson is saying is we asked Doug Ford to help intervene, to help the people of Ottawa, and he called them and the whole thing a waste of time and refused to take part in any meetings. Refused. So they've got this emergency hearing. That was a bombshell. Now, after the whole thing started, Doug Ford and Justin Trudeau held a press conference about, selling Nokia phones or 5G or something like that. Who knows? I could care less. And this is what Doug Ford said.
I don't trust 5G.
No, I don't trust 5G either. But watch this.
To my colleague Kevin Gallagher's question, how come, Premier Ford, you're not testifying at this inquiry? Were you asked? Did you decline?
I have not been asked. Again, I want to repeat what I said earlier. We have top officials from the OPP that were running the operation with conjunction with municipal police agencies.
Did you hear that first part? I have not been asked. Did you hear that?
He's lying. Okay, hold on. Go back, play that again. Watch JT. He is desperately trying not to show any. Yes. It's even being noticed in the comment.
To my colleague Kevin Gallagher's question, how come, Premier Ford, you're not testifying at this inquiry? Were you asked? Did you decline?
I have not been asked. Again, I want to repeat what I said earlier. We have top officials from the OPP that.
Great catch. I didn't even see that. I didn't see JT's face. He's like, oh, okay. Fuck face. All right. Did you see it? So yesterday, they sent a summons for him, a subpoena.
What?
The Emergency Act hearing subpoenaed Doug Ford and his former Auditor General, Sylvia Jones, who is just a colossal piece of shit. Massive fucking liar. She's in charge of healthcare now. She's busy breaking it all down so they can sell it off piece by piece to Americans. That's what they're doing. So they just got a summons. And in that summons, it's fascinating. This is a whole bunch of shit. You don't need to read it. This is from the actual Emergency Act hearing people. These are the people that put the whole thing on. That basically said the information gathered by the Commission and Council in the course of the investigation made it clear that Premier Ford and Minister Jones would have evidence, particularly within their knowledge, that would be relevant to the Commission's mandate. On September 19th, 2022, Commission Council requested an interview with him. The request was refused. He just said that nobody contacted him. Nobody asked him. The Commission Council renewed this request a number of times. All requests were refused. All of them. All of the requests were refused. It was our hope that Premier Ford and Minister Jones would agree to appear before the commission voluntarily. However, given that the repeated invitations were declined, the commission has to issue a summons this day to Premier Ford and Minister Jones pursuant to Section 4 of the Inquiries Act. The commission thanks you for your request. Looks forward to seeing you.
You know what's
dude, let's watch that video again. That was from several lawyers. Like literally, that's a fucking legal note that is for real. And they're like, we invited this cat and his dog to the event and nobody came. Not only did they not come, they just continued to refuse us. Let's go back to that question one more time.
To my colleague Kevin Gallagher's question, how come Premier Ford, you're not testifying at this inquiry? Were you asked? Did you decline?
I have not been asked. Again, I want to repeat what I said earlier.
I want to play him poker. What are you doing Sunday, Dougie?
Shit.
I'll borrow some money.
Play a little poker, Doug?
Let's play some poker. Yeah.
Can you believe that shit?
It's insane.
Like, and you know what? If I knew that I was lying in that moment and I knew there was a hearing that was going to be 6 weeks, I wouldn't have lied. Like if I was saying, but it's which brings me to the point that I wanted to make. There are a lot of people that are sitting there going, he's guilty. He engineered it. He started it. Do you know why he refused? Do you know why he lied? Do you know why he doesn't want to be there? I'll tell you why. It's because, and I talk to people that handle him and know of him and know him. And the problem that the Conservative Party of Ontario has is that all of his handlers know how, and this is from them, know how incredibly stupid he is, and he's going to sink the ship if he gets on that stand.
Handle it.
That's why. I can't say whether or not he's collusive. I can't say whether or not he helped the convoy. I can't say whether or not he was taking orders from federal conservatives to stand down and let this thing ruminate at the front door of Justin Trudeau. Let these people in Ottawa fucking sit on it, and let's fucking bring hurt and extremism to tens of thousands of people. Let's hurt a group of people. I can't say that that's what they did. But what I can tell you is, after talking with people associated with Doug Ford, is effectively they're so afraid of him sitting there without some kind of resource or someone telling him what to say that they're going to do everything in their power to prevent him from actually going to this hearing because, quote, Dino, let me just read this. He's just too stupid.
I think, by the way, I'll make you feel better about your conversation that you're going to have later, your follow-up call with the lawyer, the one you called just before the show. I think you covered your bases well there. You're good. Good. There was a lot of alleged.
There were a lot of alleged in there, but I can tell you this is that I don't know. I can't speak to the inner workings, but I can tell you what people have told me about Douglas R. Ford. And they said, dude, did you watch him? There's a reason why we didn't let him debate without a blue binder. There's a reason why we didn't allow him out of the house. There's a reason why we hit him in the Kawarthas and the Muskokas. There's a reason why he hides and he's not allowed to be front and center unless it's incredibly scripted. Because if someone asks him the wrong question, he's going to fuck it up because he's just not smart enough. He'll do the bidding of anybody too.
He just messed that up. Like, I don't care. If you're 5 years old, you know he just lied.
Dude, it's right there.
My dog. But I'm just saying, even if you didn't know the testimony.
Yeah, I know.
My dog would know he was lying.
And
he just ate my McDonald's bag.
To my colleague Kevin Gallagher's question, how come Premier Ford, you're not testifying at this inquiry? Were you asked? Did you decline?
I have not been asked. Again, I want to repeat what I said earlier.
He's so lying. He's so lying. You can feel it. It's just oozing out of him.
Cartoonist Michael D'Adder. Michael D'Adder put out this today. Fuck, did I laugh? Look at this cartoon. It's him reading a constitutional law book upside down because he's so fucked in the head. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine propping a guy up? And I said that to one of the guys. I'm like, you prop this guy up, and you know he's that stupid that you're afraid of him talking in public.
He runs what province?
Ontario, the biggest in the province. Yeah, dude, we're simpatico. You just have an idiot that's allowed to like fucking publicly speak. Which is hilarious. I do too.
Every day.
She doesn't stop being
I didn't
funny
know
to
what
me.
the news was this morning, but I was back to the locker room for the first time in 3-4 days because I was moving on the weekend. Took a couple of days around the weekend. We get to the news intro, and Grant's like, Daniel Smith, and I'm like, you gotta be kidding. Again? Another day where she's accomplished nothing.
Yeah.
Done nothing.
Yeah.
Zero.
She's
I don't know why I keep putting my fingers up. She just and this is the thing. And Grant's like, I'm trying to find other news. I swear to God. But this is international news.
Can I tell you something?
News around the world. She made headlines
for
her comments.
She's huge. You can't, and to that point, like I'm trying to get away from the Emergency Act stuff because, like, I want to do like Fun Monday and Killer Tuesday and Mail It In Friday where we talk about weird shit, but I can't get away from it because everything we put up about it is like thousands of tweets, thousands of likes, tons of reads. Dude, our room is jammed right now with people that wanted to know why Doug Ford has been willingly hiding from the process of being involved in this Emergency Act.
I think you're onto something
when it's his country. Well, dude, I heard it from the people he works with. Dino, he's too stupid for this. We can't let him out.
They'll haul him out when they got like, hey, Tim Hortons is a new sandwich. Can you make that mention? Like, that's when they're okay with it. Just eat a sandwich, Doug. Yeah,
that's fucking wild. Fun. And that's why I kind of stay away from it, like, because I have this like this empathy button that I pressed a couple of months ago, where I'm like, I kind of feel sorry for some of these people. You might need
to hit it again.
I think I do. Well, okay, let me ask you this. Speaking of empathy and dumb fucks, the Britney Spears stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. We were going to talk about this yesterday. I want to tackle this today because Britney Spears has been putting up I want to hear it, a ton of nudes on Twitter, Instagram, wherever she's got social media. And I've got a problem with this. Most people of my vintage wouldn't have a problem with very attractive pop star fire hosing pictures of nudes all over social media. Most men, warm-blooded men, would go, keep it coming. Not me. She hasn't stopped, by the way. Like, I can't even, these are just like the headshots. And of course, who doesn't take a picture naked with their dog? These are just headshots because like the last time we had pictures of Britney here, these are all just nudes that she took on vacation. And this is all in the last year. It's been nude city. She hasn't stopped. And her kids about a month and a half ago are like, we don't want to go to her mom's anymore because she's weird and she keeps taking naked selfies all the time. We're fucking tired of it. And so the response to her kids was to put out this one where she put out a picture of her on her bed, totally naked, covering an areola, strategically showing parts of her body. And the tweet is, quote, I have a premiere for a movie this week, The Legislative Act of My Pussy.
So
hang on. My point is this. I feel bad making fun of her because for 13 years, she wasn't allowed to run with plastic scissors unless someone told her she could. So the fact that her conservatorship has been pulled away from her, I feel like ogling pictures, nude pictures of her is just me ogling pictures of a mentally and emotionally unwell person. I feel like it's not fair to put her in the spank bank because of her mental situation. Like you don't just go from being under a conservatorship for 13 years to being allowed to do whatever you want. Because like, am I supposed to look at her like that? Or should I look at her like I would look at, I don't know, Gisele Bündchen just showering nudes all over social media?
So I don't know what to tell you about the guilt you have about whacking off to Britney Spears nudes. You're going to have to talk to somebody that's more qualified to help you with that. But I will say this.
Yeah.
I think you're dealing with somebody that, okay, so let's remove the mental illness factor from the conversation. Okay. I think what we've got is we've got somebody that it's well documented that she she was on a lot of drugs for a long period of time.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I think she's dealing with the ramifications of drug use, like that chemical intake. Right. And I think it changes your wiring. I believe this about pot too. I've said this for years, that if you get on a Friday night, if you and the wife want a little toke in the backyard on the in front of a fire, that's one thing. But I'm talking about guys that get up and they smoke all day, that they're not going to be able to leave the house without 10, 12, 14, 15 joints rolled and in their possession for their day. I've seen those. I grew up with those people. I grew up with hippies. I grew up with chronics. I started seeing that when I was a kid, like started to be aware of it at like 11, 12, 13 years of age. Like guys that smoked all day, that said they could not cope with life without pot. And over the years, I've watched them change. I've watched a metamorphosis, if you will, of how they think, right? Like they become a little more paranoid. I've got some family members, I've got close friends. I think that she's the result of a chemical, like overdoing her body and brain with chemicals for years. And
That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't think we can.
Hold on.
I don't think we can masturbate to that. That's my point.
I just think you can. I just think you're allowed to feel guilty about it, Dean.
You just can't tell anybody?
I'm not done.
Oh, good.
On top of because I don't know what crazy she is, and I don't think anybody should be diagnosing her, right? I think she's been impacted by her life, her experiences, the drug use, right? I think the problem that we have right now with Britney is we know too much about her. Like, why do I know this stuff about her? Why do we know this? Because she's that famous. And then, so we're putting we're painting a picture of who we think she is. I think she's wildly insecure. And I think this is her attempt at trying to remain relevant in the world that she lives in. I think she desperately needs this kind of attention. And I don't know. I don't think that that's a sign of mental illness. I think that's a personality trait. We all know people that have narcissistic tendencies. You might be watching and listening to.
She wasn't allowed to eat crust. She was not allowed to eat Captain Crunch unless her dad said it was okay.
See,
into her 30s.
Why do we know that? Like, it's bizarre that we know that. So
but my point is this: there's a reason why she was like that. And if indeed your theory is correct, and she's fried her brain from a whole bunch of SSRIs and all kinds of other shit,
rewired. She's rewired.
Sure, rewired her brain. We'll go with that one. If that's the case, then I feel even worse about like writing a story going, here's Brit with more nudes. Like, that's the thing, right? Because you see it and and it was funny because we posted the story. It was purely a clickbait story. I'm like, here's another nude, but make sure you have a look before it gets taken down. I don't even know if it's been taken down. Took a screenshot of it so people can see it at deanblundell.com. And as soon as I posted it, I'm like, oh, should I be posting that? Because like literally,
no,
she was eating porridge, court-appointed porridge for the last 13 years. And I'm like, I guess. I mean, she's almost 40-year-old woman. You can just go ahead and throw it up. Same thing with Kanye. Like, have you been watching the whole thing with Kanye? Is anti-Semitic?
Well, Kanye is. I think we can diagnose him.
He's mentally unwell. That's my point.
Yeah.
Like, he's so fucking sick that he's burning his life down around him. I don't know if you've seen some of the videos. This is an outtake from the Tucker Carlson outtakes, which some employee at Fox was like, this guy's nuts. I can't leave these outtakes on the cutting room floor. I got to share them on Twitter, which led to his downfall. He lost Addidas today. $225 million deal with Addidas. $225 million this year.
His booking agency walked away from him today as well.
Totally. But let's watch this video.
This is mental illness.
And then go, fuck, like, do we make fun of this guy? I know it's mental illness, but in both cases, it's mental illness, right? Do we treat these people the same way we treat everybody who we just assume isn't mentally ill when we know these people are?
I have a question for you.
Sure.
If there was a naked picture of Kanye West,
I'd look at it just to see.
I would definitely. That's where I'm going with this. If you remove the mental illness aspect of it, these people are still in control of their own lives, and they're still putting stuff out there that intrigues people. So if somebody told me, hey, Locke, you're not going to believe the picture that Kanye West just released. It's got a huge hammer. I'd be like, I got to see that.
Apparently legendary. Right? Yeah. Legendary cock. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I need to see that. Like, where'd you find that one? I'll send you the link.
Dude, that's a whole different, I'll send you the link. Hey guys, check out Kanye's dick. If you ever send me a pictures of Kanye's dick, I'm not going to be happy with you, just so you know. Anyway, this is one of the outtakes that got him in a lot of trouble. Watch this. This is fun.
Planned Parenthood was made by Margaret Sanger, a known eugenics with the KKK, to control the Jew population. When I say Jew, I mean the 12 lost tribes of Judah, the blood of Christ, who the people known as the race black really are. This is who our people are, the blood of Christ. This, as a Christian, is my belief. And I believe that if we saw ourselves as more...
Yeah, there you go. Whatever. This was the one that really got him in trouble. Let's watch this.
Biting my tongue on my political opinion because I thought it would be better for my children. And now you look up and my kids are going to a school that teaches black kids a complicated Kwanzaa. I prefer my kids knew Hanukkah than Kwanzaa. At least it will come with some financial engineering.
I should see.
Maybe
now
he
I
should
feel
just
like
release a picture of his cock. Yeah, the Kanye West thing is crazy.
That's untreated mental illness. Like when that's been like the running narrative around him, which kind of leans into the Britney
he's a genius,
shit.
Right?
Like, yeah, he's a total savant,
There's a
music
fine line.
savant, brilliant, all that stuff. But went off his bipolar medication in 2018. Said he wanted to learn how to live without medication. You know when I knew he was crazy, though? No, this is when I knew he was like, and I say that, and I know it's not something you should say with someone who's dealing with mental illness. It's diagnosed, untreated, won't have it treated. He's his own problem at this point, and the people around him enable him, and he's probably got hangers on. Same with Britney Spears, all that stuff. It's actually pretty sad if you think about it. But I knew he was crazy when he decided to live in a yurt in Wyoming, as opposed to sleep with Kim Kardashian in an air-conditioned mansion every night in Beverly Hills. That's when I knew he was crazy. This is when they were documenting this farm he was building, like a big yurt farm where he could have church services, and he chose to be there, and Kim was going out trying to bring him back. And I hate the Kardashians just as much as everybody else. But we all know what she looks like. We know that she's a made woman. We know and when the guy's like, you know what? I'd rather go to Wyoming and build a tent town than sleep naked next to Kim Kardashian. I'm like, that guy's fucked.
So, I had a friend whose dad had mental illness, like, and went months and months and months and years untreated, and then would treat and then fall off and then treat and fall off. And one of the things that he started to do was he started to tell friends and family that he thought he was Jesus Christ, that he was actually I've come to save everybody, and truly believed it, like deep down to his core, until he died. And I think we got a little bit of that. Grant thinks that he's gonna he's in the process of starting a full-blown cult. So I think that's what we're sort of seeing, that the starting points of that.
Who, Kanye? Yeah, it might be. I mean, he's got that school. It's called Donda Academy. And my friend Viv sent me a whole printout of the Donda Academy thing. And literally when they get there, they have 2 hours of church. And the next class is parkour.
Well, they've been sitting for a while.
And again, I'm laughing. Yeah, exactly. I'm laughing at it, but like, can we laugh at him? Like the guy has somehow convinced a group of people they should send their kids to his school. I mean, fuck, the guy's a genius, right? Like he's got it all. But dude, he lost. So he had this Valencia deal. He lost, I think, $60 million. He lost his management team, all of his lawyers. They all quit. He lost his $225 million a year deal with Adidas, and Adidas isn't fucking around. This is from the website. You can go to deanblundell.com and read the story following growing pressure on Adidas to drop Yee. The company announced it doesn't tolerate anti-Semitism, other kinds of hate speech. Yee's recent comments and actions have been unacceptable, hateful, and dangerous. They violate the company's values of diversity. Adidas will end production of Yeezy products. This is fucking huge because he just renegotiated this for like the next 10 years or something. Adidas will end production of Yeezy products, stop payments to Yee and his company. Kanye, fucking hate that they call him Yee. According to Adidas, who estimated that the decision is expected to hit his net income. I know it's so stupid. Net income by $250 million in 2022. And I don't know if you've seen any of his shit, but it's garbage. Adidas has been interviewing his partnership with Yee since he wore the White Lives Matter shirt Fashion Week show. Do you remember that? It was after Twitter and Instagram suspended him after he said he was going to go to DEFCON 3 on Jewish people. That was also probably not great. I think he means DEFCON 2. He didn't even know what that meant. It's a fucking fascinating story, though. But, I mean, part of the story is, like, if you've got mental illness, if you're emotionally unwell and you've got a couple $2 billion, you don't have to do shit.
Well, and the interesting thing about it is that he doesn't think he's sick, right? That's kind of where I was going with the you believe what you believe, right?
Yeah.
Like, I come home every day and I come on this podcast and I tell people almost on a daily basis that I'm not an alcoholic. When clearly, if you count the number of empties I just took to the bottle depot,
I'm telling you, in our group chat last night, we came up with the greatest clothing line for you. It's called Alcohol Leak.
Yeah, it is.
And
brilliant.
Just drunk sayings on the front, right? Like, I'm not as drunk as you think you are.
Hold on. Do I need to write these down?
Yeah, you might have to.
Okay, hold on. Yeah.
Alcohol Leak. Lachlan's drinking line. Alcohol Leak. Right? And just like even one of your recycled shirts. I'm not drunk, I'm hungover. I'm not sick, I'm hungover. One of those.
What was the one that we put up?
You can't day drink if you don't start in the morning. That kind of stuff.
What was the one that we put up yesterday?
In the chat room? Oh, it was fucking brilliant. Rookie.
Maybe it's the beer talking, but I really like beer.
That's a good one too. I like that one. What else do you got? What else did Rookie say last night that was fucking brilliant?
Rookie's he's a closet genius.
Yeah, he is.
Old Rook. Yeah, he's a very smart guy. Yeah. Well, listen, I think we should end here. I just want you to know that I am not judging you for whacking off to all the Britney Spears nudes. No one is.
I don't do it. I don't whack off. I'm saying I don't think we can make fun of her or jerk off to those pictures. Yes, I'm totally sure she's unwell. It's like, can't do it.
You just got to learn to separate. It's like, you just, like I said, you got to
learn to separate the mental illness from the hotness. I don't think you can.
No, for you,
at least I can't.
Guilt. You got to learn to remove the guilt that you have from this.
Dude, she had a court-ordered bib on at dinner for the past 13 years. I feel sorry for the woman.
I'm Team Britney. I'm cheering for her.
I do too.
That's why I'm finding it hard to be anti no more nudes. Right? Like, if she posts another nude, I'm not going to go, oh, Britney, stop. I'm like, no.
What a shame.
No, girl, that's empowerment. You do you. Right?
Yeah.
This is what you need.
I know. I feel the same way.
We all need to be on Team Britney.
I feel the same way. And that's Lachlan Cross, 957 Cruise FM in Edmonton. At Lachlan Cross on Twitter is where you can find him. 957cruisefm.ca. Listen every single morning. I know we talked a little bit about radio. That man does easily the best rock radio show in this country. I'm a daily listener. You should be too. 957cruisefm.ca.
That means a lot.
Thanks,
coming from you. That means more than you could possibly imagine. Thank you, everybody. I'm out of here.
Dude, and I'm telling you, only until I come back to save the industry. And you'll be number 2.
What if I'm in the chair across from you?
Nothing.
We got nothing?
Everything's fine. Yeah, no, I got nothing. Talk to you soon, buddy. Lachlan Cross, at Lachlan Cross on Twitter is where you can find him. I might do that. I come back and save an entire industry. Probably take a year. maybe 2. Anyway, have a great day, everybody. Appreciate you being here. Thanks a lot for showing up today. Really appreciate it. JB didn't make it today, which is a shame, but here's the situation. He'll be back maybe tomorrow, and we'll get up to date on the EA stuff. No big deal. It's boring as fuck, so don't worry about it. Anyway, JB sent a nice note. Can't wait. He'll be on again. Appreciate everybody being here, including Lachlan Cross. Thank you to our friends and sponsors over at kivlaw.ca. If you're looking for great defense and legal representation, and you're in Southern Ontario, my friend Rob Kivlikin at kivlaw.ca is your guy. His entire team is geared to keep you as free as humanly possible. And they want you to learn from your mistakes too. So what they do is they tell you the truth. That's all they do. And they advocate for that freedom, no matter what you've done, been accused of doing, or didn't do. If you need great defense lawyers, kivlaw.ca. Go to Robert at kivlaw.ca. Send him an email. He'll get back to you immediately, because that's what good lawyers do. Also, thanks to our friends at Ed's Fine Imports. His gets are on me. They can be on you too. Luxury branded boxer briefs, pouch in the front. Awesome underwear. I swear to God, if you're an underwear person, you're going to love these. Not only do they have a great waistband, but they're super breathable, very soft. You'll absolutely love them. So make sure you order a pair and use promo code GITCH3 at edsfineimports.com. Again, edsfineimports.com. And when you use that promo code, it'll send you a free pair of underwear. He's got a massive online store too. Clothing for men and boys. Can't go wrong. Go to edsfineimports.com today. And of course, our friends at Easy Auto Financial, helping you get into a vehicle. Financing is free when you work with my friends at Easy Auto Financial. And is their advice as well. Their advice is let them take care of everything while you sit there and just go get the car with the free financing that they give you. There is no obligation, never is. EasyAutoFinancial.ca for more details. They're our friends. They can be yours. We'll see you tomorrow. Marianne Eison's going to join us on the program. She's awesome, from the Let's Take This Outside podcast. Really excited for that. It's going to be a lot of fun. We'll see you around 3 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. Have a great day, everybody. Appreciate you being here. Be nice to each other, as nice as humanly possible. Unless someone's a dick, then just give it to them. That's how I operate. You can do the same thing. Have a great day. See you tomorrow. Bye.